Hello all, my name is Mridul Agarwal and I would like to welcome you all to my demo. Starting off, I first draw the sketch freehand and then I wet the paper wherever I need to paint. I usually paint wet on wet only. So this is 320 GSM Fabriano rough paper. So here I wet the lid first, starting off with the lid. The colors that I'm using here are Mission Magello Gold series. So this is a combination of orange and brown, is made up of peacock blue and orange. I'm trying to make this honey jar first. This honey jar is made of glass, as you can all see in the picture on the left. This picture has been taken from free images on Pixabay. So making the reflections on the jar, the light is coming from the left side. So most of the paint I'll be applying on the right. As usually the case in wet on wet, you first wet the object. So I'll be, wetting the object first. This case, this is the jar. Since the light is from the left side, so I'll be putting streaks of light coming through the glass jar on the left. Watercolor is basically all about transparency. So I need to show transparency in this glass jar. The brush that I am using is a flat brush, synthetic, 1/2 inch in size. So I'm mixing the yellow, deep yellow, orange, and a little bit of brown here and there, the blue, which is mixed in orange. There's an orange on the right side, so I'm going to paint, show the reflection on the jar. So I continue to paint my honey jar using yellows, oranges, and brown. The lid needs to be a little darker in value. So I just apply the paint wherever needed. My paper is still wet, so I can, paint a little here and there. I start off with my orange fruit on the right side, again saving my whites. I don't apply water there at all. It is the natural white of the paper that I use, and no masking fluid or any other white. So I start off with the lightest shade, which is the yellow, and then moving on from light to dark, followed by the darkest shadow on the orange. In the classes I teach, the workshops also, initially it's a challenge for the students to learn wet on wet technique, but once you get a hang of it, it's, I think, much more fun. It's beautiful to see the colors mixing on paper in wet on wet, and I love that part. I'm trying to paint the bottom half of the photograph, the dark part where I can see, as you can see, the reflections of the orange and the flowers and the jar. So this is a flat brush of 3 inch in size. The peeled orange at the bottom, I'm going to save and color it later. I'm trying to color the shadow part at the moment. While painting the shadow also, I go from light to dark. This is a flat brush, 1/2 inch and 3 inch. I'm also using a round brush, 4 inch in size, which I'll show you in a moment. So this brush I'm using to paint the smaller details in the shadow. Mixing and merging the colors as I go forward before my paper dries. Watercolor requires patience, and we should be able to accept the unpredictability part. It takes its own course. You just try and paint to your best. The reflections are a combination of light and dark colors, and merging these colors is important. If I paint the orange peels at the moment, it will all mix up and maybe it will not give a good effect. So I've left it for later. On the left is the flower. There are 2 flowers there. This is the bottom part of the honey jar. The reflection on the floor. Now I'm going to paint the background, saving my honey jar and the flower and the orange. I don't like to make it too dark, so I'll use my own colors to paint it. So I apply the water on the paper in the background. Saving my flower, which I'll color later. I'm trying to paint the background, so it's darker on the right side. So obviously I'll make it much more darker on the right. Using the same colors, but making my own design. I don't need to copy it entirely. It's my free will. Yeah, I like this background. I hope you like it too. After these touch-ups, I have to paint the peeled oranges and the flower. So starting off, I am first applying water, shades of light color on wherever I think I need to apply paint. Rest is all paper white. No masking fluid is used. Going slowly from light to dark, I'm trying to paint different values in the orange pieces. I'm trying to rectify a few of my colors here and there. As long as it is wet, I can rectify or modify a little here and there. Not too much, but a little. Leaving it to dry, I'm coloring the other peeled orange fruit. With the flat brush, I'm trying to do dry on dry at some places, or maybe dry on wet a little here and there. The values are most important in any painting, any medium. So same thing in watercolors. The value should be correct for it to look like a 3D shape. That's what I'm trying to achieve. The colors that I'm using again are deep yellow, orange, vermilion and peacock blue and these are Mission Mugello Gold Series colors. When I teach, I start with small basic objects, just like, as you can see, this orange on the right, or maybe a small simple jar. The more you practice, the better you become. I'm also learning still. I finish off with the third peeled orange, and then I'll move on to painting the flower. This is the reflection part at the bottom of the orange. Now I need to paint the flower. So there are two flowers there, one at the back, if you can see carefully, and one in the front of it. I'm wetting parts of it, and then I'm applying paint. Lightest goes first in, followed by the darker and the most dark. The flower on the front is mostly white, so I won't apply too much paint, but I'll darken the values wherever required. I think the darkest part of the flower is in the center, so that's what I'll do. I'll paint the other flower now after this. You can see little petals, little bit of petals there in yellow and middle with the orange. So I think that makes up for my painting. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you once again, Narita. Thank you all.